Oh, hey, what's up, guys? What are you doing here? So, question I get asked all the time. All the time. Plenty of times. Hey, how much for a lightsaber? How much for a lightsaber? It's a question I get asked most frequently, understandably so. It is something that people have made videos of it in the past. Lots of people have talked about it. If you're in the hobby, it becomes sort of a thing of you know where to go. There's a lot of places, but you gotta have to research them and find out which one you want to go with. So that being said, this video is going to be about lightsaber companies, lightsaber options, where to buy, but where's the best place to buy a lightsaber, who not to buy from, well, no, cautionary tales, and also installers. Who do I get to install it? This is going to be my bit of information that I feel is good to make a video of. I did it in the past, and it's my least viewed video. No, it was an older video back when I first started the channel, and a lot of them are not really the great. The video quality is not very good. But I'm going to give you a quick rundown, try to make this as fun as we can. For those of you who already know your way around lightsabers, where to buy them, how to get them, who to install them, this video may not be for you. This is more towards newcomers and people who are not aware of certain places that they can purchase a lightsaber. So with that said, let's get to it. Let's break it down. So you don't know where to go, and you, like anybody else, hop on Google and type in lightsabers. Lightsabers for everyone. And you are most likely going to come across Ultra Sabers and Saber Forge. Those are the two probably most known lightsaber distributors, businesses, companies that will pop up first. Most known, lots of people tend to know Ultra Sabers for quick turnarounds, cheap hilts, or cheaper. Then you have, of course, Saber Forge, which personally I like Saber Forge hilts. I get them empty and I customize them and install them myself. As somebody who does a lot of customizations and installations, the nerf herder custom kind, that is something I personally enjoy. From these companies, you can get completed sabers. Now, it is definitely, how do I say this? It is known in the community to avoid purchasing a fully installed hilt from either company. And Ultra Sabers for sure. You don't want their soundboards anyways. They haven't even updated them. It's old technology. Their installs are shoddy. It's just not worth it. What the general thing that everyone tells you to do is to buy an MT and get it installed. While that seems like a lot more steps and a lot more of a hassle for you to go through, in the long run it is much better. There are plenty of installers out there that you should go check out. If anyone's available, you jump on there, see if you can get in line, and you'll get something really amazing. So you got Saber Forge, which has had a rough kind of what's the word I'm looking for here? I don't like talking bad about people. They've had kind of a past. Their reputation back in the day was not of the best. So a lot of stuff you see on Facebook groups and all this stuff, you're going to see a lot of people who will say, you know, never buy a Saber Forge, never buy an Ultra Sabers. That's not necessarily the case, as you can buy from the company and it's a perfect base for your custom lightsaber. Now, prices are going to vary on each one of those. This video is mainly to tell you that there is no one price fits all. Now, you can buy completed hilts. Electrum Sabercraft, they do a really good install. Vader's Vault, which you will hear a lot. Vader's Vault is considered to be of the best for lightsaber retailers. Very slim hilts, very, very nice, high quality, great installs. I myself don't have any because as a customizer, they do not sell empty DIY kits, which I feel like is a huge bummer. They have some hilts that I would really enjoy to have. But from them, you purchase a fully installed, professionally done lightsaber. You get Neopixel with CFX, and you're good to go, man. I mean, it's a good deal. Now, you're gonna wait a long time. A lot of the times in the lightsaber community, in the lightsaber hobby, you have to have patience. Can't say this enough. Have to have patience. Now, if that's something you can't do, is be patient, I don't know what to tell you, buddy. It is going to be an awful time for you. There are gonna be wait times, and this year with, you know, the pandemic and everything going on, shipping has backed up a lot of stuff. The best thing for you to do is to figure out which hilt you want, what saber you want, say whether it be a Scrapflex, the Luke Skywalker, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Scrapflex, the Luke Hero from Return of the Jedi, there's 2 versions, Darth Vader, Obi-Wan. You have to figure out which one you want and then find out which company is available for that hilt. A lot of people ask, they message me, they say, hey, how much for a lightsaber? And then I say, well, you know, I need a lot more information than that to help you out. And they're like, I don't know, Luke's lightsaber. And I'm like, Luke's got, well, depending on which movie, a ton of different lightsabers, 2 different designs really. But you have the stunt version, you have A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. It's different orientation, different grips, different setups. The accuracy junkies will definitely let you know in the hobby if you got something up. So you have to research, really find out what you want. Now, if you want a fully customizable hilt, one that is your own, talk about some custom babies. Talk about some custom babies. That's that Nerf herder custom deliciousness that I like to sprinkle, make things fancy. Now, a lot of what you just saw, which, oh, welcome, is a lot of my customized personal sabers. These were all made from various different kits. Some of the Scrapflex inspired ones are Scrapflexes, Derelict inspired one. I did a modified flagship, made it look like an Orgus Din inspired saber. A lot of that is part of the fun for me, is customizing the hilt. Scrapflexes, mainly with a Core Banth 2.0 kit or 2.5 kit. They have 2 different distinctions. The 2.0 kit has a ribbed core, which is perfect for your star killers. And I tend to enjoy the 2.0 for the ribbed core solely because I like to get the cutaway on the midsection and have like a ribbed section underneath in the waist area, which is just my jam. Then you have the 2.5 Scrapflex, the 2.5 Scrapflex from the 2.5 kit. I mean, the core is more of a straight cylinder, so you can't really get a cut in any design. Some people have played with them, but it's more or less the long end of a Scrapflex control box and a leather body. So your options are a little bit limited. So we've covered Scrapflexes. We've covered Saberforge, Ultra Sabers, Vader's Vault. I'm missing quite a few, I know. There are plenty of companies, and there are always more companies coming out of the woodworks. Whether it be Core Banth, 89 Sabers, you name it. I could make a whole list on makers. It would be a whole video in and of itself, but this video is kind of an overall to help you learn more about purchasing sabers. So with that said, the Scrapflexes are a very customizable thing. You can make them out of any Scrapflex kit really, but the 3 cells are a little harder unless you're doing some kind of an adapter with an MHS part, which TJ Wells can supply. This is pretty awesome. I need to grab one. I need to grab one from TJ. If you are more interested in doing something a little more original, a little more non-canon, completely made up out of what you came up with in here, that's an option as well. Really fun to do. Every now and then I like to pull together a design that's just, you know, whatever happens, happens. I did it with my tooth saber. I did a scrap tooth saber. I've done it with sink tube, I mean, you name it. But next thing I want to talk about is MHS from the Custom Saber Shop. CustomSaberShop.com has what we call what is called MHS parts. They're modular hilt parts. And what that does is you have a bunch of different pieces of the lightsaber. Like this dude, for instance, my Core and Horn speeder bike. Now granted, this is heavily modified, so it's just part of the fun of it. This pommel, this body, this pommel, this body, and this piece, this claw piece, plus the emitter, and all that stuff in there. These are MHS parts. You can swap them out with a bunch of other designs and play with it and come up with something that fits you, that you like. That's a pretty cheaper option. If you also go to saberforge.com, they have an ASP parts system where it's the same thing. It's just their version of parts, their sizes, and whatnot. So that being said, you can go and build your own also from just straight up scrap parts, junk parts. There's Home Depot tubes, sink tube sabers. A lot of people start out doing sink tube sabers. Fun projects, fun way to learn for those who want to kind of get their hands dirty and see what's going on with, and see what you can come up with. There's that route. There's also companies that have their brand of saber that is unique to them, like the KRS flagship, the KR flagship, which I have one right now. This kit right here was sent to me from somebody for a commission. And this is a raw kit that comes with everything you need to get started. As of right now, this is like $100 some. This thing can be heavily modified and people get them etched all the time. This is such a fun DIY saber. Like for instance, I took this kit and I made this out of just different parts, different stuff that I like to do. Acid etching on the hilt. This was one of my more favorite projects of this year. If you've watched my channel, I have demoed a lot of Old Republic style sound fonts with it. And this guy was made from this kit right here. That just goes to show you, you can do a lot. As long as you know what you want to get, you can go out and do it. Different websites, different suppliers. Again, like I said, the Custom Saber Shop has everything you need from them. I mean, go and look at all the categories. There are pricings for everything. Again, when it adds up, go and look at wiring, soundboard, speakers, speaker mounts, chassis, all of the works. It's got everything in it. Also, if you want to build, this is for the DIY people out there. Also, the saberarmory.com. Now, saberarmory.com is located in the UK, and it's run by Cal, who is just a good dude. He has really done a lot for the community and the DIYers. I got a lot of respect for him. You have that. I'm sure I'm forgetting other ones, but man, when you dive into those two, it really opens and broadens your DIY aspect of the hobby. So if it's a little too much for you, you can also get fully installed sabers. A bunch of companies out there. I'll go through a list of them. Ones that I would say are a good go-to are, like I said, Vader's Vault and Core Band. I love the hilts. I love Randy. He partners with 89 Sabers a lot, and 89 Sabers does really great hilts. There's a lot of really good design aspects to them, and those are more for your Canon style hilts. You can get, Qui-Gon Jinn, 89 Sabers Qui-Gon Jinn, and it's beautiful. I haven't installed this guy yet. Here, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Hilts like that. Sometimes they have the Scrapflex kit, which I say as soon as it's available, jump on it. It's a great Scrapflex kit for a 3-cell. Scrapflex is a whole nother ballgame when it comes to finding the right kit and the right install option. So you can get them fully installed at Core Band, I believe. With a Profi board, it'll run you a couple $100, maybe $600 or more. You're going to be spending money whenever you are getting into the lightsaber hobby. This is an expensive hobby. It does not come cheap. A lot of the times you're going to be forking out a lot of money, especially for custom work, but rightfully so, because there's a lot that goes into these. There's a lot of parts that go into these. It's the components, and I will break that down as well. So we've talked a little bit about lightsaber options, lights for custom, fully custom, one-of-a-kind originals. We've got Canon fully installed sabers from different retailers. Let's talk about what it takes and why the price racks up so fast. So depending on your soundboard, your price is going to vary. A lot of times in the community, we are now with the smooth swing algorithm, we have left behind a lot of the boards as far as the legacy style, but you've got Golden Harvest version 3, which is an amazing starter board, just very install friendly, very affordable at about, like, I believe $50 or so. Don't quote me on that. And it's easy to solder, easy to get up and running. You got smooth swing or tri-cree capabilities right off the bat. You just gotta wire it correctly. Then we got my favorite, which y'all have seen a lot on this channel, which will be the CFX, the Plector Labs Crystal Focus 10. I'm a huge fan of it. While it may be a little on the pricey side, the ability to run through it is very easy for me after learning the manual pretty well. And again, you can look at the manuals for a lot of these, and they'll help you to learn the board easier. The CFX I do enjoy. You have the same capabilities of Neopixel or In-hilt tri-cree. Holds an unlimited amount of fonts, as many fonts you have on your SD card will hold, and I just love the sound. I love everything about it. I'm a huge CFX fanboy. I'm a CFX fanboy for sure. Then you have the Profi board. Profi board is considered to be of the highest end soundboard you can get for its customization abilities. Profi board is an open source style soundboard, which means if you are good with code or tech savvy, you can program the lights and the soundboard to do pretty much anything you want to do. It's a very advanced level board, and people love it very much. I have one myself, and it's pretty cool. Like, again, I was talking to Jeremy Moon of Moon's Custom Armory. You guys go check out his stuff. He does great work. I was talking to him earlier about how they all do pretty much everything you'd ever need for a lightsaber. It just comes down to personal preference, and that's good for us. We have options for tons of different stuff. So from there, you got your hilt, your soundboard, and you need to figure out a light source. Now, a light source is going to cost you if you go for a Neopixel build. It's not so much going to run you a lot of money for the Neopixel connector setup. Depending on who you go with, that can run you, $20. Let's just say $20. You get a 3D printed holder and the pogo pins, and you're good to go. But now where the money comes in a Neopixel build is when you get the blade. The Neopixel blade is going to run you anywhere from $80 to $140 maybe, depending on which vendor you get it from. There are plenty of people who make Neopixel blades. Personally, I make my own, but I've always found that anyone out there who's making Neopixel blades in the community, all of them are for a reasonable price. They are a little bit of a pain to make, so in a way, a lot of times I'm like, you know what, I'd be all right with throwing somebody an extra amount of money to make it for me. It's not a big deal. Then from there, you're gonna have to find your chassis. Your chassis solution can be anything from simple 3D printed plastic pieces, battery connectors with the pins for a rechargeable battery. Soundboard sits there, speaker here, wires go up. This is a sled chassis, so it falls out the back of the lightsaber. Or you can get something a little bit more high end, like a Goth 3D chamber, Goth 3D Designs chassis. And this is 3D printed and painted by me. It does not look like that when you get it. Excuse the excuse the 3D switch. I'm giving this guy another go ahead. And that can cost you quite a bit as well. You can go a cheaper route and get just a 3D printed piece. A lot of people design them. A lot of people do eco-friendly chassis like KR Sabers. You got Robert Sotomayor, Albert Flores, JR. At Acolyte Armory. All these guys print and design chassis, and I've used them all, and they're all great. So chassis have become cheaper and cheaper over the years, and it's just quality is great. Now you can go even on Etsy. You go on Etsy, you type in custom lightsabers, see what pops up. You find a couple different Etsy stores sell different chassis. There's so many chassis options now, which is just fantastic for us DIYers. From there, you got your chassis. And by the way, Goth 3D Designs. If you want to get into a higher end chassis for crystal chamber, check out Goth 3D Designs on Shapeways. There's tons of lightsaber options. A lot of times I love to get them. They are a little bit more on the pricey side, but rightfully so. There's a lot of detail into the printing. It's more for show, and they're really fun to paint up and do and modify and make look great. Some people do their chassis completely out of machined metal parts, which I think is really cool. Like my Star Killer is all aluminum pieces in the crystal chamber, if you guys have seen that. And that's another thing that bumps the price up. So from there, you've got your hilt, you figured out your soundboard, you figured out your light source if you want Tricree. Tricree, I actually skimmed over. Tricree is an in-hilt LED. There are 3 high power LEDs inside the hilt, and the blade is where it's cheaper. So the blade is just a polycarbonate tube. They're mainly for dueling. A lot of times when you see people with a lightsaber fighting and going full on out, they usually have a Tricree lightsaber, and that one, it just has the light inside the hilt, so it just cuts on and cuts off. There's no scroll in the blade. So Tricree is a little bit cheaper, in my opinion. Lasts very well. Battery life on Tricree is way better because you're not pulling as many amps. And this is going into the next part I'm going to talk about, your battery setup. With the battery, you have 2 options. You have the removable, which you pop the battery in and out of your chassis, just charge them. 15 amp high drain batteries for Neopixels. You get Keep Power, Custom Saber Shop, anyone that has a rated battery for Neopixel. That one is definitely recommended for Neopixels if you use your sabers a lot. The battery life on a Neopixel lightsaber is not going to be that much, maybe 45 minutes, depending on how much you do it, constant flow of power going. The Tricree is where a battery life will last longer. So you have removable battery, but you also have some hilts just don't have the design for a removable battery. Those batteries are an in-hilt battery with a recharge port. So you plug in your recharge cable, and then a couple hours go by, bing, lightsaber's ready. And that's not a bad option either. I personally, it doesn't matter to me. I'm more of a show saber. I have mine all displayed and sitting up. That's just, it doesn't matter for me, like I said. Then you got speaker. Speaker is anywhere from $5 to $15. Just depends on where you get them. I personally always say Smuggler's Outpost 28mm full range speaker is of the best, in my personal opinion. I've tried other ones. I've tried WoW. I've tried Saber Essentials. The Vecco speaker from the Custom Saber Shop, I don't think it's a bad speaker. But they're the $5, and with good resonance in the lightsaber, it'll sound very, very good. But if you want my opinion of the best, Smuggler's Outpost 28mm speakers. They're gnarly. Those are a lot of pieces, and that adds up. Your hilt can be anywhere from, let's just say, $150 for an empty hilt to $400 for an empty hilt. And that comes with quality, depending on the machining aspect, how hard it is to machine the hilt, how the design, person willing to put in the time to it, can run, man, it can run some money. You are looking at $300 hilt, $200 to $300 for a empty hilt. 150. Let's say 150 for an empty hilt. 100 to 300 just to be safe. Now you got to get all those parts I was talking about. A soundboard can be anywhere from $40 to $80. Let's just go ahead and say $80. Now we're almost, and with the chassis, that's at $400. So you got that going on, and you got to get the rest of the components. Let's just say another 20, 40, 60 bucks. Now the LED, if you want to do a Tricree, that's another 150 bucks. So we're at like, what, 550 bucks? Then you got to get someone to install it for you. Now, depending on people's prices, this is something that I have always charged a lot lower than I should, and especially in the beginning, which rightfully so. You have to build up your reputation and build up your time and experience. A lot of times it's going to cost you. Now we have gone through a list of a lot of variables that I think are very important to consider for reaching out to somebody and saying, hey, how much for an install? How much for this lightsaber? All of them are going to vary. They're going to vary on installers that you go to, installers that are available, reputable installers, and whatnot. There are plenty of people in this hobby who are doing great work, good guys, and they have a solid portfolio. It's one of the things you want to consider whenever asking somebody to install for you is how well are they known in the community? Is there anything you need to watch out for when the name pops up? Red flags, basic stuff. If it's somebody that nobody knows, that is something that I'm a little bit, that I would be a little bit hesitant to go with. You want someone with experience in what they're doing and communication, somebody willing to have communications. You're gonna be waiting a while, depending on who you get installed from, depending on which parts are available. Sometimes parts take a minute to come into stock. There's a lot of variables in this whole process, which is why I wanted to make this video to hopefully help people better understand it. Communication is key with your installer. The installer should have good communication skills. From there, you work out your price with them. Whatever they have, I don't know anybody's install prices. I've installed my sabers myself and for other people, and I charge what I believe is fair for my time. This can take a long time to do a lightsaber, and if anything, if we charged by the hour, it would be paying a lot of money, or I make not a lot an hour. There's a lot into it. You're paying for knowledge, you're paying for experience, and so you want somebody who has enough of both. There are plenty of good installers you can find in the community. Jeremy at Solo's Sabers LLC. We've got Daniel from Arc Sabers, Sabersmith. They're both good dudes. You got Carlos Hernandez from Kessel Customs, fellow smuggler. And then also you have Joe Wren. I love to throw Joe out there. He does great work. Joe Wren is the only person other than Shamim that I have commissioned to get a lightsaber done for one of my lightsabers done for me. I had him do a Profi board install for me on my Scrapflex, and he did a fantastic job. Hooked it up. Joe's been a friend for a long time, and he's a good dude. Does great work. So those are just a few I can think of right off the top of my head. I know I'm not naming a lot. There are a lot more people. Some leave the hobby though. Some have to take a step back because a lot of times these installs aren't everyone's day job. This is a hobby for me. I love doing it, and the moment that I don't enjoy doing it is the moment that I will have to take a step back, which a lot of people do, and it's for the best. You don't want anyone who's just not into it to take your commission and build you the saber that you really want. You definitely want to make sure that the person is in the right heart and mindset for it. You have those guys, you know, I can go down the list. Anyone at Smuggler's Outpost, friends of mine, they're all really good dudes, and they care. Just ask around whoever's available, because it does come down to availability. Who has the time? Because you have to understand also there's not a lot of installers. So think of the amount of people out there who want theirs done, and you know, there's a wait, there's a line. If we could do them, you know, in no time, that would be great. I mean, that's where money would be made. If I could install a lightsaber in 20 minutes, that would be pretty sweet. But it takes time, and every hilt somewhat varies, especially when you're getting into custom work. We didn't even talk about custom weathering. We didn't talk about custom etching. We didn't talk about leather wraps, wood veneers that I like to do. I mean, the list goes on. Customizations are never ending in this hobby, which is one of the reasons why I love this hobby. You got all those to consider. The price is gonna rack up. Your lightsaber hilt, you gotta purchase. Your soundboard, your lights, battery, your chassis, your speaker, it all adds up. And then on top of that, you're gonna have to pay someone for labor, and that's where their price comes in. So to answer the long, hard question of, hey man, what's the cheapest I can get a lightsaber? Or, hey man, how much does a lightsaber cost? It is such a loaded question that I don't have a solid answer for. What if I said, hey, lightsabers are $400? And that's great. Give me a Full Metal Master Crystal Reveal Scrapflex lightsaber. Oh, you said it was $400. Whoops, that's a $1,200 and up lightsaber. Shoot, like just the metal chassis printed alone is gonna cost you. Beautiful, but you get what you pay for. So a lot of questions always, hey, how much is a lightsaber? That's a loaded question, man. I don't know. What do you want? What do you want done? What hilt do you want? Do you want this hilt? Do you want that hilt? It all comes down to what you want. And that's hard for any of us to decide for you. You need to figure that out. And for me, this is what I do for every one of my commissions. It's worked for me in the past. It's just the way I like to roll. I will help you get everything as far as questions go. I do not take money up front. That's just something that I'm like, it's a little iffy for me. What I usually do is I say, hey, what do you want? We figure it out, find what's available. A lot of times it's hard to get a kit that's available. Right now, they do runs of these lightsabers. So let's say the 89 Sabers Scrapflex kit. I couldn't find that right now. I don't know when 89 Corbanth and 89 will have it available again. So there, right off the bat, we don't have a hilt kit. So now we have to go to the secondhand market. We go to Facebook groups. We ask people, hey, does anyone have a kit they're willing to part with? So it's all a hunt, and I can't hunt down everything for everyone. So I help people get their parts. I'm like, here, okay, you got that kit? Great. Now what you need is your soundboard. Go ahead and get that while it's in stock. Boom, done. It's a checklist you got to go down. And the more you understand what you need, the easier the whole process is. And you can also judge how much money you're going to spend. Definitely figure all that out. And then find your installer. Then you will get a price. But it's so hard for me to say, hey, there's a baseline price. Unless your company's like Corbanth, who sell fully installed sabers, whatever the price was, $600 and up. Vader's Vault, $700, whatever. Those guys have set prices. But when you're asking custom work, custom sabers, it's a very vague question to say what's the bottom line price for that. If it's a saber I have already built and I know each price point for hilt, everything, I can tell you the parts cost, and then I can tell you what my labor would cost. but that's it. So you guys got to figure that out yourself. I did a lot of research over the years to figure it out, try to help everyone with this channel to make that easier for you to figure out by just watching one of these long-winded videos. But I hope that helped you out. I hope that helped everyone. If you have any questions, feel free to throw them in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for sticking around if you've watched this video all the way to the end. And until next time, may the force be with you.
Who's scruffy looking?